record button so we can remember to record. Thank you everyone for coming today. This is part of the TOPPS series, so Transforming Online Pedagogy and Practice Symposium. So glad that you are here. Anita Wolford, Anita, I mess up your name every time, I'm sure. just be patient with me, but did I say it right? Yes, that's good. I think I'm finally coming around. So she is the fantastic instructional technology consultant in arts and sciences. She has taught me a great deal about Canvas, and today she's going to talk to us about how to make our Canvas course more visually appealing. And I cannot wait to see what she's got to say today. Just a reminder, if you would mute your mic so that we can listen to Anita, there's definitely going to be time for questions at the end. And then I'm going to give you the links to join us for the other webinars that are happening this morning. So if you want to jump from this room to the next room, you can do that. Okay, Anita, it's all you.
Okay, hello everyone. As Amy said, I'm Anita Wolford. I work in the College of Arts and Sciences. The first thing I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm going to share the link to the Google Doc that you can access now or later that covers everything I'm going to talk about in the webinar today. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my browser, so give me just a second to do that. Okay. And so hopefully everyone is able to see that I'm now in Firefox and I have a Canvas course open. So to start with, a little bit of background. Instructure is the company that owns Canvas, and they intentionally designed a system so that all courses would look similar to each other. And the idea behind that was so students could go into a course, multiple courses within the same program or different courses across a university, and be able to quickly become familiar with the environment they're in so that they can quickly find their syllabus, course material, and assignments. But of course, that means it's a little bit more of a struggle for you to make your course, interesting or stand apart. So we're going to cover a few things today. But first, before we get into specifics inside of the course, I do want to mention just a few general tips. And again, you can follow along on this document. But one thing, so your modules area in Canvas is where most people put their content. You certainly don't have to. Some people just use assignments. Some people will use the files area or the pages area, which we'll take a look at. But if you're using modules or however you organize your course, the first suggestion is just use a consistent structure. Each module or each area doesn't have to be exactly alike, but as much as they are similar, so for example, if they have readings, then some lecture materials, and a quiz, a discussion, try to keep the order of those items consistent and where students can find them in the same place in the module. Another suggestion is if you're using modules, and again, as much as possible, this will vary course by course, but try to avoid having a long list of items underneath any given module. I try to aim for about 5, sometimes more, but sort of a general target to aim for. You can see here this peer review module has 2 items in it. This ARC area has, I think, 6. If you can see, if you ever used Blackboard, Blackboard had a folder structure where you saw your list of folders. You had to click into the folder, and then you would see your list of items. But with Canvas, it's almost more like an outline format where you have these, they're module topics, but really it's like headers and then items underneath. And so if you have a lot of items listed under these modules, it can end up with a lot of scrolling for students. You can click the arrow and collapse this, but that's a user-by-user basis, and a lot of people don't realize they can do that, or they don't take the time to do that. So try to keep the number of items underneath any given module, the 5 to 7 range maybe. Now, when we're talking about ways to make your course visually appealing, one of the ways that you can do that is just generically speaking with your content. Some people, their whole course is files, so Word, PDF, that kind of thing. Some people, they only use PowerPoint. we have some courses that are all video. But what I try to encourage people to do is to vary your content presentation methods. Choose the method that you feel is the best way to present the content in question. Don't use multimedia just for the sake of having it in there. Pick something that's going to best get across what you're trying to say. So, for example, some of the examples I give you in this document, if you're dealing with a lot of legal rules, terminology, basic text might be the best way to go. If you're doing something along the lines of the life cycle of plants, then you could use something like an animated image, or maybe a PowerPoint with visuals supplemented by text. If you're talking about civil rights, you could have historical photos, as well as video interviews with prominent people, or video archives from the civil rights movement. If you're talking about famous speech, then see if you can find an audio recording of that speech. So lots of different ways you can present content, and that is it also serves as a visual break for the students. They see some text, and maybe they have a video, then maybe a bullet list followed by an audio file. Maybe there's a PowerPoint presentation. It just visually breaks up the list. If you have a lot of content to present in a module, then what you might want to do is what we call chunk it. So make multiple smaller segments. This is particularly true for PowerPoint or videos. So if you have a topic that you need to cover in video format, and it's going to be 20 minutes, and that's just the way that you have to do it, then consider breaking that up into at least 2 10-minute segments, and maybe shorter. You could group it. You don't just have to divide it in half, but you could group it based on topics you cover in the video, and so have a series of smaller length videos that students can, watch independently. It makes it easier for you and the students, because that way they don't have to scrub through such a long video to try to find one specific point if they're trying to remind themselves of something you talked about. So that's, a generally good tip as well. Now, another thing is with your Canvas navigation over here. Whoopsie. When you come over here, you see you have all of these buttons. Now, the good news is if you have buttons on the left-hand side that you're not using, you don't have any content in, students won't be able to see them. Canvas doesn't show a left-hand link to the students unless there's some content in there. But you as the instructor, this can benefit you, because as the instructor, you'll always be able to see all of these links at the left. But if you hide the unused buttons in your course, it'll just make your left-hand navigation more visually structured for yourself. So when you go to your settings in Canvas, and in this section at the top, the third tab, navigation, you can drag and drop items from here to the bottom, or from the bottom to the top. Everything at the top is considered visible, and those at the bottom are considered hidden, and then save. But what happens when you do that is the items in gray at the bottom are ones that I have hidden. So you see, as the instructor, I can still see them, but at least they're organized at the bottom and they're grayed out, so I can easily tell which buttons I am and am not using in my Canvas course. So it keeps it a little organized, because, for example, if you have collaborations or conferences or something listed up here, even though it'll be grayed out and you're not using it, it's kind of going to be cluttering your own navigation up here. So hide those if you're not using them. In the document, I give you a little bit of information about some of the things that are considered visible and not. So some people, the assignments area will show everything that is graded. And so some people want to just list everything under assignments and then hide quizzes and discussions because they feel like it's a little bit redundant. And you can do that as long as all of the quizzes and discussions that you use are graded or are also linked in the modules. But a couple of things, a graded discussion, for example, will appear on assignments. If you have an ungraded discussion, then students can see it on the discussions page, but not the assignments page because it's ungraded. So you would want to either keep your discussions link visible or add a link to the ungraded discussion in the module. Similarly with quizzes, practice quizzes, even though you put a point value on them, they don't show on the assignments page because they don't really count. So that would only show on the quizzes page unless, again, you linked it under the modules. A graded survey will appear on the assignments page because even though it's a survey, it's graded, but an ungraded survey will not. So just don't hide your discussions and quizzes links unless you're sure that everything is covered by being linked either on the assignments page and or the modules page. Now, another thing to consider is a course banner. So a course banner is just a visual graphic, usually with the course name on it, that you can put on the syllabus page, and I'll show you an example. Not a lot to say about how to create a course banner here because that involves other programs. But I'll show you, just an example of what you can do, and then you can go to the instructional technology consultant in your unit if you'd like a course banner, and they can help you make one or make one for you. So to just give you an example real quick, I'm in my Canvas course, and here's the syllabus page. So the way you edit, the calendar is built dynamically. You don't have to do that, but the syllabus top area is where you can add your own information. So I'm going to say edit. Now over here you'll see the links, files, images tabs, which if you've used Canvas much, you see these a lot. And so I have preloaded some files into this course. This course I use for workshops, so I preload a lot of files in there. And so I have a banner image in here. So this is going to be my syllabus page. So I'm clicking in the text box here. And this is the banner I've already created, so I'm just going to click on it and give it a second. And another second. Oh, whoops, files, sorry. Oh, I'm supposed to be in images. On the images for that. Here's my banner, so I'm going to click on it and give it a second. There it is. So that's just a quick visual that you can put in your course to help students identify a little bit of what you're talking about, to add a little visual appeal to the page. And if I click Update Syllabus, you'll see that's where it shows. So by default, we tend to put the banners just on the syllabus page, but it is an image, and you could add it anywhere in the modules as well, so you have some options there. So the next thing I'm going to talk about are Canvas pages, and this is really where you can do the most powerful stuff inside of Canvas as far as visuals. And in fact, the syllabus area, this top area, basically is like a Canvas page, but we'll create one from scratch in the module so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So I'm going to jump into the modules area, and I'm going to add a Canvas page. So Canvas pages and the interface that you use can be used most anywhere in Canvas. And you can put all sorts of things in there. You'll see text, images, video, links to files, links to other areas inside your Canvas course. It usually helps, I think, to tell people to try to imagine Canvas pages as almost like a built-in Word editor. That's not exactly right, but you have the same kinds of functionality. So if that helps you imagine what the Canvas pages are like. So I'm going to come in here, and I'll just add it under here. So I'm going to click plus. And at the top, instead of assignment, I'm going to change that to content page. And these are a list of all the pages I've already made at various points during workshops in this course. But I'm going to say new page, and I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to say TOPPS workshop. So I'll know what this is for later, and I'm going to add it. And so right now you see I have this TOPPS workshop. It's not published. It's grayed out, which means there's nothing in it. I'm going to click in there. You see it's empty. And so now I'm going to hit the edit button. All right. And so you give a second, and this is the interface that loads for your Canvas page area. So you have all of these text editing buttons up here, and then you have this links, files, and images area. Another thing to point out before I forget is with a Canvas page, we call it a Canvas page, and by far the biggest use is just to add content in a more formatted way. But you also have the option down here, once you make a page, to allow by default, only teachers can edit this page, but you could allow teachers and students to edit this page, and then it would function more like a wiki. So students could go in there and add their own content as sort of like a group wiki project. So just want to mention that so I didn't forget. So once you're in your Canvas page, you just start putting your material in there. And you, again, if you sort of think of it kind of like if you were building this in a Word document, that might help. But let's say that I want to do, let's say I have a module in Athens, because that's what my file examples are, and I want to do an introduction to the module. Maybe the students have some readings and assignments, but I want to put a little bit of a welcome and some lecture comments in there myself. So I'm in the page, and so the first thing I'll do is I'll just come to the images area, and I'll just add this banner back just so you can get a feel for what things will look like. So, there it is, and I'm going to hit return. So now you see my cursor is below the image. So let's say that now I want to put in some introductory comments, you know, like, welcome to the course. This first module focuses on Athens. And so I'm just going to copy and paste so you can get the feel for some of this text. So we've got a little bit of text going on. Maybe I want to say something about myself. So, you know, another paragraph. And I've uploaded an image of myself. So maybe I want to put that in here so students can see who I am. So then here's me, and then I can, you know, center it, write a line of whatever. So put that in there. So on a basic level, you see we can put images in here. We can add text. You've got these formatting buttons. So let's say, like instead of about me, let's say I'm going to say readings. And, you know, I've got, let's say in this course we have reading 1, reading 2, etc. So I would want this to be like a heading. So the first thing is I'm going to highlight this, and then up here at the top, instead of being a paragraph, I'm going to say this is a header 2. Now this is important just as a side note for accessibility purposes, because if someone's using a screen reader, designating this as a header is important to how screen readers tell blind students what kind of content they're getting. So once I've made this a header, if I think that's too big, not big enough, if I want to change the color or the bold, I can still do that, just don't change this part. So I'm going to drop this down to say 14, make it bold. So I can format this. I can take this and highlight these, and I can make them bulleted or numbered, whichever you prefer. For readings, just bulleted. And so you can give them the sort of outline. But with these readings, so let's say that, so you can go into your module if you've ever done this. Let's say you have these 2 or 3 readings for this module, and they're PDF or Word documents. You can go into a module and you can add a link to each file. So you know, add one link for reading 1, then reading 2, then reading 3. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you have a lot of items already in the module, and so this is just going to be adding even more, you know, 3 links in addition to everything that's already there, you can just link them all on one content page. So I've called this reading. So I'm going to highlight reading 1. And you come over here to the files. And again, I've preloaded some examples that are already in here, but you could simply say upload a new file, browse your computer, and then click upload. But I'm going to find some reading examples in here. So, okay, here's one. So I've highlighted reading 1. I'm going to click on this reading. You'll see it's magic is happening. So now reading 1 is a link, and then I'll do reading 2 and find another one. We'll put that in there. And so now 2 readings are listed, but they're only taking up 1 page in your modules. So that's something else you can do. I'm going to save and publish this for just a second so you can see how it's looking as we go through here. So save and publish. And so this is what we have. So here's the title of the item. I've put in a banner, some text, the readings heading, and then the 2 readings bulleted underneath. And in Canvas, you see that you have this little icon, which you've probably all used it before, but if not, it's kind of handy. So you can always click on this link. So if this is a PDF, so if I click directly on the link, it's just going to prompt me to download and save this PDF to my computer and then open it, which is fine. But you can also click this little icon, and you'll see it's loading the PDF directly in here, which is handy because that way students can read the assignments without having to download, wait for an external app to open. In particular, if you've got different kinds of readings, if you have a mixture of PDF and Word linked here, this can just be a quicker way to read. You can navigate pages here, or you can scroll, you can zoom in and out. This will open it up full screen if you do that. When you're done, you can minimize. So also sort of a neat feature of the Canvas page. So any questions so far? Everyone good? Amy, if you, oh, okay, got a question.
Anne has a question. Anne, you want to turn your mic on and just talk? Or Anne, did you not have a question? I saw you raise your hand. I would keep going, Anita, and she can ask her question in the text, and I'll let you know.
Okay, just interrupt me if you see something come across the text chat, and I'll jump back in.
I will do it.
Okay, so far we've got this, and so you can do something like this if you wanted for every module in your course. You can put in some images, add some links, and just format your text to make it look nice with some bolds and things like that. There are also some other things you can do, so I'm going to...
Can't hear anything now.
Can you hear me?
Hey. Go for it, Anne. Just ask your question. We can hear you.
Anything?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Did you have a question?
Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what happened. Can you put the pages on to the modules, or are they stay in pages?
No, they go in the modules. So when I first started this, when I went to module, and here it is. So I said add, and then choose content page.
Okay, so it's in the modules. Okay, perfect.
Yes, you can create them directly in the pages area, or you can create it directly in the modules. Once you've created a page, it's always going to list in the pages area. You have the choice to add it to the modules, which I did. So if you make your pages directly in the pages area, when you come to the module to say add content page, these are all of the pages, there are a lot, that I have made at some point during all these workshops, so they stay in this list, so I could always add like the ADA compliance one. This is the one we're working on now. But you can also come here and do new pages. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, great.
So we've got this here. So now what I'm going to do is show you another thing that you can do. It's the same concept. So these, like I said, these are pages. You can add them in any module, or they can just be a running list in your pages here. But I'm going to go back to the syllabus and show you some things you can do here. So this is where I added just the banner image earlier, but I'm going to click Edit. So even though this is the syllabus area, note you still have the formatting that we had in the Canvas content page. You've got all the formatting up here and the links, files, images. And I want to add to, in case you've never noticed, you have this interface, the formatting buttons and these three options. In most areas of your Canvas course, you can format your discussion board posts this way. You can format quiz questions this way. So if you're in a discussion board, for example, let's say it's a photography class, and your discussion assignment has something to do with you want the students to compare and contrast two photographs. You could have your discussion text area where you type in the question open, type in the question, and you could actually insert the two images in the discussion board. You can insert, images in your quiz questions, again, short videos and discussions. So you have these formatting options in most areas. But we're going to look at the syllabus so that you can see a few more things you can do. So I've put in the banner already, so I'm going to go down here and let's see, I'm doing this welcome to the course thing, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I want a little more white space. White space is good. It breaks up the page for the eye. And so let's say blah, blah, blah. And so maybe here I do want to say a little something about me. So bloop, bloop, this is about me, and I'm going to put in the return. And so up here again, images will show all the images. It's nice. Images will show as files, but if you make a mistake and do what I did before, if you click on an image in the files area, it's putting a link to the image. It's not actually going to insert the image on the page here. So if you go to the images tab, you get this nice little preview of what the image is, and then it will insert it directly on the page. So I'm going to go down here, put my cursor where I want it to show, click my head. There I am, so maybe I want this to be centered. I will say though, I actually gave, we had the Canvas reps on campus one day, and I actually gave them this feedback directly. There is no easy way. If you want to take this image and like left or right align it so the text wraps around the image, you can do it, but you have to know how to go into the HTML code to do it. So I have asked them if they could build something into the rich content editor here to just let you do a quick text wrap left or right. But right now, it's not the easiest thing to do. So it may be just easier to do what I did and put your image in the center. You can click on your images and click the little corner tab, and you can resize. So maybe I don't want to see my head that big. But a few other things that you can do. You saw the bulleted list and stuff like that already. But let's say, so this is the syllabus, so I'm trying to give them relevant information. So let's say that I want to tell them a couple of things. One is I want to tell them, I want to give them some introductory information that I'm writing directly in this box, but I don't want to retype my whole syllabus or copy paste my whole syllabus in here. I want to just say, welcome, here are a few pointers, and then here's the link to download the complete syllabus. I can do that. So I can say, here is the link to download the complete syllabus. And so then I can highlight all of this if I want to, or part of it, come back to files again, and again I've preloaded the syllabus in here, but you could upload it here, browse and then upload. But I've already got it in here, so I've got this text highlighted. I'm just going to click on my syllabus, give it a second to format, and then you see that's a link. So now that's a link where students can directly access the rest of the syllabus directly. And so then another point, let's say a lot of instructors have started doing this because students won't read the syllabus. So let's say before you move on in the course, make sure to take the syllabus quiz, right? Okay. So I could leave this just as it is, a reminder before you take the course. 2 minutes, oh gosh, I'm going to hurry. The links area lets you link to other areas in your Canvas course. So I can just leave it at this, but if I've already built the syllabus quiz, I can highlight this, go to the links area, here's quizzes, and I don't have actually in this one, but so I'll pretend this is my syllabus quiz, click there. And that has made a direct link to the syllabus quiz. So I can update. This is what it looks like. You've got the text, the image, me, link to download or view the complete syllabus, and then this is a shortcut to jump you directly to the syllabus quiz. So that's the rich content editor. I'm going to try to tell you a couple of things real quick, but it's all in the handout if not. You can change your home page. By default, if you have a course that you've had for a couple years, by default your home page is going to be this recent activity stream. If you have a course that's been created in the past maybe year, then the default home page is the modules page, but you can change it. So let's say that one of those pages I made, I want to be the home page for the course. So what I can do is go to home. I see right now it's the activity stream. Come over here to choose home page. And let's say I want it to be one of those pages I just made. You see you have an option here for pages front page. So that's what we're going to want to do. But Canvas does this a little weird, and I don't know why. You'll see there's this asterisk, and it says that you must set a front page first. And I would think that doing this would set it, but it's kind of a two-step process. So I'm going to click here. It's jumped me to all of my pages. And so here's the TOPPS workshop. So I'm going to come over here to the right, and I'm going to say use this front page. So see, now that's designated as the front page. So when I go home and come over here to choose home page, I can say pages front page and see it's got TOPPS workshop and save. And now this is my home page. If you do this, what you may want to do is come over to settings, course details, that first tab, and scroll all the way to the bottom, and you see this little tiny more options. If you click there, you have several things that are good to know about, but notice this first one, show recent announcements on home page. So if you make something other than the activity stream your home page, and this will include modules, the syllabus page, or as we're doing, a Canvas page, check this box so that recent announcements will show at the top of the home page, and then click update course details. That way, when the students first jump into the home page, any recent announcements will show at the top so they won't miss those. So that's another tip. Now, since we're almost out of time, I'm just going to hit a few, just mention a few other ways you can get content into your Canvas course that's covered in more detail in the handout.
So yeah, that's fine. So I put in the link to the chat the 10 o'clock webinar, so if some of you are planning to go to that, we're going to keep talking and I'll keep recording so you can look at that. Or you can hang out with us and I'll stay with you, Anita, so you can answer questions.
Okay, great. I'll be fast. I'll just tell what these are and I won't show. There's a product in Office 365 called Sway. You can create content in there and embed it in your Canvas course or link it to a website. This is a quick example. It's very visual. You can scroll. You can do slideshows, flip slideshows. That's fun. So you can click those and flip. Text, you can put all the text, another version of slideshow. You can format your text that way. An image grid. You can put captions on your images. This is a fun one. You can make a slider so you can show like before afters. If you were doing geography and you wanted to show an area before and after a flood, you could do this and do the slider to see. So Sway, everyone has access to that. It's in Office 365. If you do video, consider doing a screencast of your course. That's very useful, which is a way to record your screen so you can walk students through how to navigate your course, for example. So you can do that. I've listed several options for what you can use there. Everyone at UNCG also has a YouTube channel, so you can do that. And then also, I'll just mention, if you're doing presentations like PowerPoint slides or something else, for an online course, it's a little different because PowerPoint was really designed for you to be, with the group in person talking, and so the slides were just kind of like key points. In an online course, students have to, if you're just using these PowerPoint, students have to really understand what's being presented on those slides. And so I have a link for some tips for designing an effective online presentation because it's a little bit different online versus face-to-face. A few things about some little games you can build, and then I'll stop and take questions. And I'm available if anyone wants to stay and ask more questions. So any questions?
Are you going to share the Sway handout here in the link?
The Sway link is in the handout.
Okay.
So.
And do you mind posting that link for everyone again? We had a couple people join us late.
Oh, sure. Let me get the share link.
And then while she is doing that, I'll share again the link to the other webinars.
Again.
So we have one, the library started one at 3 o'clock. Is that 3 o'clock? At 10 o'clock, sorry. Ooh, it was 10:03, that's where the 3 came from. And then Anita's going to join us back here at 10:30 to talk about peer review. So there's the link to the webinars at the very top. You just hit the drop down so you can go directly there. So do you have any questions for Anita?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
And I'm going to turn off the recording.